So recently I made a video about doing photo challenges, to kind of try and maintain that motivation to do photography. The last time I did, self-portraits. This time I decided to do the black and white photography photo challenge. It was one of the things that I talked about back then. I had them on my list for a while. But it actually corresponded with the recent announcement / release of the Leica M11 monochrome. I did not plan it, but I saw that was all over YouTube. I was like, oh well, perfect time to try the black and white photo challenge. Now, of course, I don't own a Leica M11 monochrome, but what I did use was the Fuji X-T200, just with the 35mm f2. I shot with the black and white film simulation with the yellow filter. I find that filter tends to lighten the skin a bit, which is good if you're shooting people. So yeah, I took the camera out to a vintage market, and so I just go ahead and show some pictures. So yeah, I just wanted to say a few words about black and white photography, right? I, for one, prefer color. I know that what I'm about to say is probably going to offend some people, but I don't think that there are very many pictures that are made better by being in black and white. But hear me out, all right? Because here's the thing, right? I think artists have always, historically, had to work with color. They've always had to find some creative way to put colors together to create something beautiful. For as long as humanity has created art. Black and white came about with the invention of photography. And it came about because of a technical limitation. Because when photography was invented, the only sort of film that they were able to produce were black and white film. And so it's an art that kind of just came about. It's a creation of convenience. It was born out of a technical limitation, right? And so, as soon as technology advanced to the point where color photography was possible, most people wanted color photography, and most people switched, right? And so nowadays it's mostly just like the hipster group who tends to shoot black and white, I think, or these sort of hoity-toity artsy-fartsy types that like being pretentious with their photography, who insist on shooting black and white. I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend anybody. But that's what I find. Like, people talk about nostalgia, but like oftentimes the people that you see on YouTube shooting black and white, like, they were way too young to even remember what black and white photography was like. Anyway. I'm not saying that I don't like black and white photography. I think I've genuinely seen some beautiful black and white photos. That's not the point, right? I guess the point is, a good photo is a good photo, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in black and white, or doesn't necessarily have to be in color. Things like composition still is the most important. But what I think is that the black and white look tends to add a sort of otherworldly effect to it, and if that's the thing that you're going for, if that's the composition of that photo supports that, it works great. It works also very great for surrealism, or even like horror genres. It works great then, but I find that black and white gets used way too much way too often, you know. Even like happy, candid shots from like some event, like event photography. Like, why does that have to be in black and white, you know? If I'm honest, it's a little, again, I don't mean to offend, but I think sometimes it's a little bit lazy on the photographer's part to just wash out all the color rather than make the color look better, either in camera or in post-processing, to kind of, you know, work it a little bit. You know, they just wash it out with black and white, and then, you know, it didn't matter that it was a cacophony of colors. It didn't matter that it was, you know, not ideal. Just get rid of it, you know. So yeah, there's some like landscape photos that probably would have looked better with some color. I don't know. Like, I think there are few genres of photography that are actually made better by being on black and white. I'll also point out, right, that TVs and movies have largely moved away from black and white, right? You know, they used to use film too back in the day, right? And as a matter of technical limitation, TV and movies, they were in black and white, because the cameras that shot them were in black and white. And then the vacuum tubes, the TVs that showed those images back in the day, were also only capable of black and white. But as soon as the technology allowed, they have largely moved past that, right? Yes, there are still some black and white movies, like The Lighthouse, right? Or Schindler's List. There are some TV shows that might have even episodes shot specifically in black and white. But like, those are used very sparingly, you know, to a certain effect. So yeah, I find that some photographers tend to use black and white a little bit too liberally, without really trying to think about what effect they're going for. Anyway, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.